Maybe 2-4. I didn't see Bub say he was coming.
He's not here though. What happened?
I might,
Last minute,
I
I
might
think.
glitch. My shit might glitch for a second. I gotta change my internet source, but I already hit the button. Okay. Yo, check. Can you hear me still?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm freezing.
That is
No.
clear.
You not. You kind of fuzzy, but you're not freezing.
Is it clearing up a little bit?
Nah.
No, it's kind of the same.
It's the same.
Let me clean my glasses off real quick.
It's still fuzzy.
That's
No, you good.
Good now. All right, cool. Adrian, what up?
Yo, what's good, man?
Hey,
Good.
money.
It was good. Yo, man. I'm feeling good, man. Last night we had a dope ass show. Mike was good.
So
Everything's.
long day, man.
I hear you, man. Yeah, we had a dope show yesterday. So, but tonight this might be risky, original. A little bit different topic today. We're gonna test the waters, see what motherfuckers looked up and know or don't know. You know what I mean? Alex,
Hey, him.
what's good, yo? Every time you got a hat on, I get nervous.
Listen, it was a situation.
Wow.
I'd be so scared if the wind blow. God damn, man.
That's why I went like this to adjust it, make sure it's not spinning.
Shit like that.
Q was good.
What up, Pam? What's goody? What up,
Hey,
Pam?
shit.
I'm looking
Yo.
good, family.
Did you book that show?
I got a show coming up May 27th. I just
May
got the logo sent to me today. You know what I mean?
Good. Fire the flyer guy you was using. Send me the shit. I'll make it for you.
All right, whatever that means.
Yeah, the last flyer you had too much shit. Had GI Joes in the background. I ain't. What was going on on that flyer? But I know somebody else made it for you, man.
Shit like that.
Bro was good.
What's up? Happy hump day.
I like the little. What do you call that?
It's called I came by here today.
Okay. Love was good.
What up?
Everything's everything.
Everything is everything. I'm on the right
Indeed.
side of the fence.
I can dig it. You mean the ground?
That too.
Indeed. Mary was good. I like your hair.
What's good? Oh, you like it today?
Yeah, you was late yesterday, so I ain't want to say give you no compliments.
Thank you. What's good? Everybody good?
It looks very, very decent, man.
Thank you.
Adrian, what up though?
Yo, you already asked me, bro.
I didn't ask you shit, nigga. I barely said hi to you. You was
did.
late.
You did. You was like, yo, what's good? I'm like, what's good? You already asked me, man. How you doing, man? How your day go?
And what Marshalls you went to?
What?
What Marshalls? I ain't seen a Levi shirt ever.
Oh, I got this from the Levi store, 2 for $30. I had a gift card.
Bruh. Wow.
Sis, what's good?
Hey.
Hayes for horses, man. Mike, what up though? Welcome back. How you?
Can't call it, man. Trying to build an empire.
That's it, man. Shit is not easy, bro. That's Franklin in the back.
You know it. On the inside, yeah.
What season is that when he had that much hair?
That was season 1, right before he got shot. I think he got shot and then he cut his hair. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Word, man. Hey, Snowfall, man. Did y'all attend the funeral?
I had to get off at 11 last week.
Yeah, did y'all attend the funeral for Jerome or y'all didn't watch it?
I've never watched Snowfall in my life, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, you probably you're not one of the blackity blacks then, huh? But you know you for interracial dating and all that, so I just figured.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
Thank you, Q. You broke my black card. I didn't watch a TV show.
Niggas revoke your VAT card for less. You never seen somebody get a black card revoked for never seeing Juice?
That deserves it though.
Definitely
It
needs your
deserves
black
it.
card vote for
That
that.
deserves it though. Juice, that deserves it.
That deserves it. Okay, I
But
can
love,
see.
you keep watching BMF though, right?
I've never watched BMF before in my life.
Okay, you on your own with that shit.
Sorry.
Missing out.
This might be risky. We're here. All right. Chief was good.
What's happening, black people? How y'all doing?
Doing all right, man. We trying
What
to do
up,
the right
Chief?
thing. Need to get this more symmetry. Let me see.
Let me see if I can get my
There we
shit
go.
right.
There we go. All right, cool. All right, tonight's topic: remedies to fix Black America. Oftentimes, we ask about what's wrong, who's wrong, how did it get there, so on and so forth. Let's see if we can come up with some things that maybe will help us mend some of these broken fences that we have. That sound good?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I usually have videos and things of that nature, but I don't know if I don't want to do a context video because I feel like we get stuck on what the video said more so than maybe original thought or organic thought from the panel itself. So I just want to ask the questions and then we'll get some answers. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will give some context in terms of commentary. So if anybody watches YouTube, I think YouTube has kind of overcame TV for sure. But if you in like Black YouTube, there's shows like ours, there's other shows, talk shows, men and women going back and forth, whatever the case is. So there was a white girl named Pearly. If you ever seen her, I actually used her for a clip before. So she had some things to say. She had Nick Fuentes, who has named himself a racist, but not in how we understand it, or a white supremacist, and she had him on. So some people red flagged that. And then one thing that he got flagged for was saying the Holocaust was not that bad. And then she said, yeah, I feel like they say the same thing about American slavery, where it's not that bad, but they make it sound so bad to try to control people. She even said that the Roots author, his name is slipping my mind.
Alex Haley.
Alex Haley. Yeah. So the Roots author, Alex Haley, said it was a myth for his people to live by. But when you go to it, a reporter said that after he died and he was unable, obviously, to defend whether he said that or not. But as we've learned through history, I think Roots was not half as bad as what it actually was, in my opinion. So she made those comments and she's in Black YouTube. She uses Black people on her panels, talks about issues that we have primarily, so on and so forth. So people been canceling her, going back and forth, arguing with each other, everything. People stop being friends, other YouTube and content creators over this, right? And this is a white woman. So first question. So let me see. Is this showing? There you go. If Black people stopped allowing everyone in, would that fix the Black community? I feel like we let everybody in. We give people passes. We're such a loving people. I think it has hurt us. If you see white people doing a dance that Black people can do seamlessly, for some reason we highlight that white person, right? The white TikTokers that can do all the Black dances, they got the millions of views with black backup dancers. So if we protected our community and stopped letting everybody in all the ways, you think that would help fix the Black community? Anybody who has a thought?
I wouldn't really say
How
fix
would we
it.
do that? How would we do that?
You answer my question with a question?
Yeah, because if we're going to do that, yes, we can do that. But how are we going to do that? It'd be helpful, but how?
I don't know, Ro. That's when we're having a conversation. Are you saying you don't know how, but you think it will?
I think we can. I think it can happen because other cultures do it.
Yeah. So Q, go ahead. You about to say something at the same time as Ro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't think that it can fix the Black community, but I do think that it would help remedy certain things because we're giving away so much of our little bit of culture that we've created, and anything that belongs to us that is, what I would call the closest to being indigenous is just like, oh, here it is. Oh, you want to learn how to make this? Here you go. Here's the recipe. You want to learn how to sew? Here you go. You want to learn, you know what I mean? We're so easy, um, you know, with, or say, I should say, eager to give away those things, right?
Mhm.
And I think there's a gift in safeguarding things. And as Ro, I think, was trying to hit on is, you see that with other cultures where
Mhm.
we might know a little bit, but you don't see niggas sitting around cooking halal, because they're not coming off of that shit like that.
Mhm.
But to your point, we're inviting everybody to the cookout. Charlie burnt the hot dogs on accident. He's invited to the cookout.
Word. Yeah, like you see Chinatown, right? Koreatown, so on and so forth. Anybody else got a thought?
I agree with Q. I don't think we as Black people have anything of our own. Not to say that stopping allowing people to enter our community is going to fix all the problems, but I definitely think it's a start. Nothing is ours. Nothing. You look at the Chinese community, you look at the Korean community, they have their niches, they have their things. But as Black people in this culture, what do we have that is ours, that is sacred, that is just for us? We don't have a safe space anymore because we've fallen into the realm of we have to share. And I think maybe it's just something that historically, like, things were taken away from us. We feel like we don't have a sense of ownership. It's not mine anyways to have. I don't necessarily feel that we as Black people in this country have ownership in anything when it comes to our land, when it comes to our homes. And I think the same with our culture. We just give it away, or that we give it away, or we're afraid to push people out of things for fear of rejection and fear that we can't do things on our own.
What do you mean own like your land? You talking about we live like in rental properties?
Yeah,
Like, what do you mean?
I think that's something small, but I just, in general, like, we don't own our own stuff. We don't own our own homes. I don't have the statistics on it, so don't get at me for that. When I think about other communities, when people come into this country, they will all put in for one home. They will all stay in there together, and then they go ahead and then they'll buy something else. So they're there building up their own community on their own. You can't build your community when all we're doing is renting generation after generation after generation.
Chief, you think we don't own anything?
Not in comparison to the masses, no. So our ownership is diminished in a sense because it's on a much smaller scale than the grand scale of the grand scheme of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I recently wrote a piece about the sports and whatnot. It's 122 major professional sports team, only one Black owned. You know what I'm saying? So like, we don't own stuff to that regard, but like they were saying, there's Little Italy, there's Chinatown, Koreatown, and then there's the ghetto. That's what's attributed to Black people. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, no, we don't necessarily own anything to the masses as others do.
Do you think that, and Chief just sparked this question? Let me ask Love. So was the ghetto always so bad? Or when we started calling it hood, is that when it became bad? Because I feel like a ghetto is a place of the same people of the same culture,
Yes.
residing in poverty.
So
I don't.
So you kind of asked a couple different questions. So I'll answer the first one that I believe I heard was, was it originally so bad? And I don't think that it was. I think that we as a community, we were relegated to certain areas, and we made that work. We made that literally that crap work. What they gave us, the little scraps that they gave us, and where we were relegated to live at as a community and as a people, we made that work and we thrived and we prospered. And that's why they hated it. Like, how can we give them scraps and crap and they still thrive and they still survive and thrive? And that's why they came in and tried to destroy everything that we built. So was it a bad thing originally? No. But when they saw that it was a good thing, they came and infiltrated because we allowed some people in there that we shouldn't have trusted, right? We are very trusting people, like you said, Hamp. And they infiltrated and they brought in a lot of negative things. Like they brought in the drugs, they brought in the division. So a lot of things came with that. Negative things came with that. So to answer your first question, it was not originally a bad thing. It was an awesome thing. It was a loving and godly thing.
Yeah. Damn.
Let me jump in.
Go ahead, Mike.
First, it's bothering me that the B in Black is not capitalized in your sentence. If you can fix that because it relates to the people, not the color.
Gotcha.
So just some gems. But we do own a lot. HBCUs. That does not exist in other cultures. You don't have an all Asian college. You don't have an all Hispanic college. We have Greekdom. We have BET. Regardless of who owns it, it is Black entertainment television. The problem is the lack of support and collectivism around these institutions. I'm big on saying that integration was the worst thing to happen to the Black community because now it's taught us that we need to, strive for the white gaze and white acceptance. Like, fuck NFL, like we'll never be able to have enough capital to collectively own NFL teams. So fuck it. Why is that a thing? Why do we care if we don't, if someone comes to the cookout, why aren't you sending your kids to Black institutions? Why aren't you sending your kids to Black communities? We have these things, it's just that we don't invest in what we currently have.
I disagree with Mike. The Native Americans in the Midwest, North and South Dakota and Wisconsin have maybe 20 schools that they filter their kids into so they can begin careers with the Department of Agriculture so they can run the lands. So
how many colleges do they have?
They have about 20 of them.
How many colleges do we have?
Colleges, yes, they have about 20
How many colleges do we have?
We have about 113, but half of those are, on the verge of closing or
why is that?
Bankruptcy. Well, you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you in the investment part. What I'm telling you is there is a culture of people, the Native Americans, that stood their ground. They were not going to allow the United States to take over what their land was. And then on top of that, when they made the investment to be partners with the United States, they made sure that their kids for generations and generations and generations can get educated to filter back into the government that tried to kill them off and work for them and feed back into their land. That is investment. That is partnership. That's what that is.
So we can create that. We can, as a community, we can create that. And there are plenty of opportunities for Black business owners, for Black educators. But again, it's. I guess I see it from a different perspective. I see so many opportunities for us to succeed, and I don't really care about Native Americans and whatever they're doing, and because they were decimated, and they just happened to get reparations. Who gives a shit? It was not something that we could do today. I'm more concerned about how can we use our resources now, to help the next generation.
What I'm saying is, as of today, those are their resources. They made an agreement, they've invested, and they continue to invest. And I'm not saying that I'm saying that they did it. Can we do that now? We can, but I think it has a lot to do with who we have representing us. I think it has a lot to do with who we put out there to represent the culture and what they're not pushing. I always say this, the Congressional Black Caucus is a waste of time, to be honest with you. They may have made movements back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but right now, they're like, they don't even need to be there at this point because they're not doing anything. We don't have a permanent right to vote. Okay? That is 4 decades of doing nothing with the Black president. So, I mean, yes, we do have to invest, and I think it is possible, but we need to start having people represent the culture that understands that process.
I think that honestly, I think using the Native Americans is a very poor example. I think they've gotten they boots smoked all over this continent,
Yeah.
and we're saying what? How many tribes are extinct? There's triple as many tribes extinct as there are schools, so called. They also per capita get trafficked the most. They're women. So I mean, I don't know. Like you're standing on what? Because of a couple casinos and a couple schools. What are they actually producing? Have you seen on those reservations the methamphetamine, the heroin addictions that have is a pandemic for those people, epidemic for those people. So I just don't know if using them as a very anecdotal, unique couple of tribes. I don't know if that's viable.
America treats Native Americans as an endangered species. If you
Yeah.
if you see how they are protected, and even on the government contracting side, how they get special protections, it's almost as
Yes,
if
they
they
do.
are endangered species.
Like a
And
wildlife
it's
preserve, right?
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
But
because they were
they're still
decimated.
invested. My point is they're treated that way regardless of anything. We don't have those protections.
What I'm saying is, I'd rather get what the fuck we got than deal with the shit they deal with.
But hemp, you still got to keep it. We could get it. We have to keep it.
I'm just saying what they've been relegated to. Put them in the back.
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
That's basically what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
But like
What
I
you
feel
think,
like
Mary?
I feel like overall, like it shouldn't. To the main question, I don't think it'll help fix the Black community because I feel like it shouldn't even be dependent on that. I feel like Black people are our own worst enemies. I feel like we don't stand enough on our own shit alone. Because if we stood more on what we feel, what we believe, and all of that, and not just to be temporary for some shit to go on the news and then be off the news, then a lot more shit would possibly get done. Not saying it would, but it would possibly. But we should be able to get to a point where it don't matter who come in and out. Because
But
that's how a lot of
this panel don't stand on shit though. Every time we turn around, motherfuckers just talking about let people do what they want to do. So how we gonna band and come together though? But how we gonna band and come together if y'all want to be fluid with everything?
But I'm just answering the question.
So let me address what you just said,
like-
Hannah, because people have free will. So that's what when I talk about letting people do what they do. People have free will. Now the problem is they do have people have their own autonomy and they have their own individualistic ideas. The problem is we as a people have too many individual ideas and we don't know how to come into a community anymore. But we don't want to take that away though either, because when we embrace the individualism of one another, but it's also with a unified front and theme, that's when true economic power occurs. That's when true advancement comes. So I don't want us to become robots. I want people to keep their own free will, creative ideas and whatnot. That's a part of a thriving people, not to be robots and not to be allowed to, have their own thoughts.
Yeah, I hear you talking.
I think it's a big thing of accountability, though. I don't think that we as Black people in this country, I don't think necessarily we have accountability, and I do think it's kind of every man for himself type of a thing. I think back to what Chief was saying about the sport, and I always go back to two situations. I always go back to the Colin Kaepernick thing and the NFL and we're kneeling and not doing it. And I remember saying, like, my husband is like a huge football fan and everything like that. He bought the jersey, all this other stuff. But then when his team was playing, he was watching, and I said, I thought y'all was standing with Cat. It doesn't make sense. And he was just like, well, you got to understand people, they have their livelihood. I said, okay, but when you're thinking about Black bodies and when you're thinking about trying to make a collective movement, y'all have to stand together. You can't be all rah-rah when it comes to buying a shirt, doing your hashtags, but then all of a sudden when your team is playing, now you want to go ahead and you want to watch the game again. Or when Madden drops, you want to play it and you want to buy it. And it's interesting to me that with all these particular sports, the football and basketball, all these Black players, all these Black bodies, but it's wild to me that none of us as Black people are owners, and we continue to play, and they continue to exploit us. It's very interesting to me because we all have that every man for himself mentality.
You think they're being exploited?
I do.
But we all go to work.
And we all being used.
Yeah.
So why not get used for $20 million?
Use me, please, for $20 million.
But that's where it goes to the every man for himself. We all got bills to pay. We all got things to do. It's like it's a double-edged sword.
Okay. Any final thoughts on this fix? It sounds like it could be a fix, but But I think to Rose Nissel's point, how the fuck we gonna do it? And I don't think we have a resolution. Any final thoughts on this one? Interesting. Go, sis.
Nah, fuck it.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
All right, sis, you up first on this one. Interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. It helps the channel the most. All right. Have you ever heard when black women say, yeah, you got to find a black man and you build him up and show him this and make him a better man and all that? You ever heard that rhetoric? So for the podcast, you can say yes. You can hear
Yes.
Yeah. So my question is this. And Q, you were right on that initial one. I meant to put help, not just definitively fix. So, will it help fix the community when black women stop seeing black men as an extension of a son and start seeing them as an extension of their father?
Whose father? Their own or the child's father?
Well, you don't even have to have a kid. That's why I just said a son and their father. So there is a possessive. So it'd be yours. Or if you don't have one, some type of father figure.
I get it. Okay. Yeah, I had to read. I had to see it first because we'll scroll on so long. I got it. Yes.
Okay. Will it help fix the community when black women stop seeing black men as an extension of a son and start seeing them as an extension of their father? Will that help fix the black community? Sis, what you think?
I don't. They have to come with some attributes like your father to even be able to see that. A lot of them, if I'm comparing them to my father, I haven't really felt that or seen that in my dating years. But I do want to say something about the last topic. I think I am. I think we're doing a little better. Can I just say this? I think we're doing a little better than I think we think, because I don't think they would go so far as to kill us on national TV and then have us believe that we should be killed like that, or have us, I don't know, doing that. So I lost my train of thought, but that's what I'm always thinking.
Wow.
I'm thinking that we're doing a little bit better than what we actually think. I just wanted to say that. But that's all I got to say.
Oh man, Jesus Christ!
Thank you, sis. Leave her alone. Let her talk.
Thanks for nothing. What you got, love?
Oh, you make me laugh. So I think it would begin to help. I do, and I actually understand. From what my interpretation of this question is, yes, because an extension of a father is an authoritative in leadership role, as opposed to a son, which is someone you have to lead and guide and raise up. That's beneath you. So yes, if we were to see our men as an extension of our father or a father figure, I think that would begin to help. I really do. Because I believe at times when you put tasks in front of someone, it causes them to rise up to the plate and perform, right? If they're not expected to do anything, they may not do anything. And so when you put expectations upon, a man, you require this of them, that would. So I think that would help, honestly. And it, like, again, you would posture yourself or posture them as a leader. That would be a step in the right direction, in my opinion.
Just a few episodes ago, you said men don't deserve to be given that role as a leader in this relationship.
You're right.
What's going on here?
So what's going on here is that it's called growth. And so, as I've said, also
from 2 weeks ago,
through many podcasts, like I've said before, I'm not a static individual. I evolve and I grow and I learn. So if you see me from 2 weeks ago, you still think I live in that same place. I don't live there no more.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
I grow and I learn. So if I'm saying something different today, it's because I've learned.
Okay.
Let them know.
Can you rephrase the question?
Hold on, sis. Leave me alone. Mr. White, What you think?
Yeah, absolutely, right. It's not a woman's job to teach us what to do, and we learn better when y'all don't try to do it, right? You figure out a way to support us, but it's not by telling us what to do and thinking you have to give us the answer. You have to be really strategic. We'll figure it out. But a lot of times y'all don't even give us the space to do that because y'all feel like y'all have to be so hands-on, because you feel like you're the smarter one, because you feel like, no, you're going to mess this up. Let me do this, right? Get out the way and let us do what we were created to do. And if y'all keep taking that space on, how can we grow in that role? You know what I'm saying? I know you got a few men that's just bottom of the barrel, but most men are not down there, right? And so the other men, the middle class, the 50% that nobody really ain't paying attention to, if you get out the way and allow that man to, if he fails, he will pick himself back up and become who he was always meant to be. But we're not your sons. Stop telling us what to do. Stop playing games with us to try to manipulate us and to control us. Stop feeling like you have to teach us lessons. You know what I'm saying? If we love you, we'll get it right.
I feel it. To your point, Ed, to your point, Mr. White, though, I feel like we attempt to do right and lead and do those things, and when we fall short, we're oftentimes not given that second chance. We're not given that opportunity to redeem ourselves. It's kind of like, oh, you messed this one up. Now I can't trust you to lead. Now I got to step in where I got to step in here. I got to step in there.
Facts. That's why they still need to get out the way and sit down, right? Because it is a learning process. And if you don't give it to us, how can we ever fulfill what we're supposed to fulfill?
But at what point,
you just grew, Asia. You aggressive.
I'm gonna put it in the words of Jilly from Philly. If you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. I'm not going to, because of course what you're describing, Mr. White, is me teaching my son. I'm going to allow him to continue to make mistakes so that he can learn. But my man, I'm not doing that, because if you already come to,
that's unfortunate.
If you come, that is not unfortunate.
It is.
If you come across me and you see how I'm moving, and if you don't know how to move with somebody like me, I'm not giving you 1,000 chances.
So you mean to tell me a man that you're with can't make mistakes?
I didn't say that. I say he can make mistakes, but I'm not teaching you. I'm not going to guide you and let you continue to make mistakes.
Hey, what?
Right.
What
I said. I said you don't need to teach me or guide me. You need to stay out the way and let me learn.
Exactly. If you continue to
hold on. And because what I'm saying is, you would already know these things, right? Before you get in a relationship with a man, you're going to already see that he can build, that he can take care of certain things to a certain degree, right? So if you trusted me enough to be with me, now don't start second guessing me, because you're with me now.
I agree with that. That's why I said.
And so you vetted me. So now that I'm properly vetted,
my God,
I got this.
Who got you worked up? Are you not listening? She's saying the same shit you're saying. You're getting all upset about it. You getting mad?
I'm not even upset. I'm not even upset.
It sounds like you're getting a little bit hot.
That's what I was saying.
I'm never upset. I'm very expressional.
So if
whatever.
Everybody watched that interview.
No, don't back down, Mr. White.
Aggressive.
I'm not aggressive.
Yeah. No,
anybody watched
hold on.
that interview?
Hold on. Because we had this conversation for a past few weeks. I told y'all that now when I'm coming up here, I'm just giving y'all energy here and here in my pockets, right? I didn't come for her. I didn't call her no names or nothing. I'm genuinely just enjoying y'all rocking with y'all. Yeah, but I forgot tone and all of that stuff matters. So since I was elevated and was a little excited about the topic, I can see why y'all took it that way. So let me continue to work on my communication, and I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to keep it at a 2 for the rest of the show, okay?
Come learn and grow with me. Like, come and grow and learn with me.
This is a broadcast, nigga. Just don't listen to them niggas.
So can I ask a question here?
No, sis. You still in timeout. Go, Mike.
No, I want to hear her question.
It goes, sis. It's Asia's fault. She had that big ass bottle of DeLeon. She had a Costco bottle of DeLeon, and we seeing the effects.
I just keep losing my train of thought. You guys are talking too much. Let me see.
Oh my God, Mike, go, Mike, go, Mike.
That,
Go, Mike.
I am not a fan of aggressive women. I think that is the biggest turnoff to me. Um, you can take it how you want. I think it's insane to think that you won't have to teach a man, because we have to teach women. What's that Music Soul Child song? Teach me how to love. Like, it's impossible to think that two random human beings can come together who don't know each other and just be good. I mean, marriage is about a lifetime of forgiveness and accepting mistakes. And so that sounds like past trauma, unhealed trauma that you haven't resolved to say that you won't accept mistakes from a man.
I didn't say that. The
and
question was referring to are we going to continue to allow men for us to raise them like sons, meaning nurturing them, guiding them, letting them make mistakes, and coddling them.
You said that you will let your son make mistakes, but your man can't make those mistakes.
I will allow my son because I'm raising him.
I'm just repeating what you said.
Keep letting it happen. Like, chances. Yeah, I missed the 1,000 chances part. Like, she said 1,000 chances. Not saying that she gonna do it after 2 and
my AirPods may be off. That's what I heard.
Them up 100 times.
Let them. Why don't we let them have the conversation? That way, Ro can provide clarity for the shit she said.
So, Mike, what I said was, I'm going in raising my son compared to in this question. Am I going to treat my man like I treat my son? Meaning, coddle him, guide him, punish him, give him, attention. I call it good and bad because they need punishments as well so they can learn, but they need to be guided so that they're feeling self-worth. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to give your man some room to learn. What I'm saying is I'm not going to go, and I should not have to be in a relationship where when it comes to a father figure, as far as the authority is concerned, where I'm guiding him and coddling him, and every time he make a mistake, I'm supposed to be like, okay, we're making the same mistake over and over again. Where your son, you're going to allow that to happen because that creates growth. Where in your man, him wanting that authoritative position and that leadership role, he should know. And like Mr. White said, before I get into the relationship, I should already know this is happening. I should already be able to understand that he's not going to get it. He's not going to understand it. And it's not my job to nurture him. That's not my job. That's what I was saying.
So
I think that does contribute to.
All right, Ro, let him get in.
So how come when Ro responded, nobody called her aggressive, but when Mr. White responded in the same manner, he was immediately jumped on?
Now that's cap. I didn't see not one finger or hand of hers. He was swinging. Eyebrows went low.
It was a finger.
Huh?
No, you said it was a finger. That's what it was.
Yeah, he was like really getting into it. So that's cap to be like she responded the same way. I think you was reaching because she
didn't have it. She didn't have her finger up.
Answered your question in a way that you wasn't expecting.
I agree, but I wanted to get back to that. Okay. But it's she didn't have her finger up, so she wasn't aggressive. So I hear you.
It wasn't the same.
I might be. You know what, Mike? I just might be aggressive to you. But and you know what? After my conversation with Mr. White, he's not aggressive to me because I can understand, and I've discussed this with him before about active listening. So yeah, if he, as he acknowledged, maybe he does acknowledge that he's taking it down a notch because he wasn't actively listening to what I said. But that's okay. Yeah. This is a podcast, so everybody has their opinion. But I appreciate you. I'll make sure that I talk in a nice, soft tone for you, because I know that it affects you.
Bring it down to a 2.
Could be so petty. Let me get in on the question here.
Let me just read it. Yeah, you got it. Sinead Fulton with the $4.99 super chat. Men should know, all caps, how to lead. Mistakes happen. A little bit too many periods in this moment. But also, accept your woman showing you a better way. It's a partnership. Ro, I fucks with you, boo. I felt crazy saying that. Go ahead, Q.
Yo. All right. So nah, I was gonna say I think that there is no room for for a woman to kind of see her man, I guess, in the light of her son. Because from where I'm sitting, a lot of times it looks like women see or appeal to that father figure because they have daddy issues. So I don't really see it like she's getting with a guy and then she's trying to mold him and shape him and treat him like her son. Um, and I think if I'm hearing the men on the podcast right, from past episodes, it's because she's not doing that you guys take issue with her, because that gentleness that we were talking about last week isn't there because she's not treating you the way that she would treat her son. Is that correct?
No.
So
Okay.
are
No.
we not supposed to pick up the slack? Are we supposed to just lose everything?
So you
What
guys
are we
don't.
supposed to-
So you guys don't want no safe space.
What you
And
what are you
we
saying? That's
so now
you
we
know,
disagree.
you
And so now we disagree that in emotion, men should be treated like children too.
well, I don't understand.
From
what
the
you're
so
saying.
hold on. Wait, let me see. So I never said a woman needs to be a safe space for me, but
Okay.
in
Did
terms of the
anybody?
child thing, hold on. But in
Hold on.
terms of the
Let
child
me
thing,
finish.
I was just saying from a standpoint of being patient when dealing with us, in terms of the way we communicate with you. Right.
Right.
And Hamp's thing with the child, it was a woman thinking they had to build us up. That's two different things. I'm not asking you to do anything but be patient with understanding me and allowing me to move and make my mistakes and trusting that I'm gonna get it. That's the patience and the understanding piece where I said kind of as if you were dealing with a child.
Yeah.
Okay, but so let me speak again from where I'm sitting. I think there was somebody on the podcast who was male who did say that they needed a safe space. Probably multiple guys. I could be wrong about that. Run the tapes back. But I also feel like from where I'm sitting, if you guys were treated the way that black women, black mothers treat their sons, y'all wouldn't have half of the complaints that y'all have about them. That comes from cooking and prepping y'all meals, staying on top of y'all when it comes to certain
That's a
things.
wife.
Y'all can say all the shit y'all
That's a
want.
wife and a mom. Wives do that too, not just moms. Wives cook and clean.
I almost feel like when a
I'm not talking
woman,
about cooking. I'm not talking limited
You
to
just
cooking.
said. What'd you just say?
No, I didn't limit that to a gender role. I said preparing y'all food. You want your if a black man. I'm not speaking about you, Ham, because I know you're going to disagree by default, right? If a black man was in a
I'm
relationship
smarter than you.
with a black, that's great, with a black woman, and she fixed his plate the same way she does for her son, he would have no complaints in that relationship. If she did and went out of her way the same way she does for her son, that black man would have no complaints in that relationship. So it's like y'all picking and choosing the same way y'all say women do. It's like, okay, I
Yes.
want you to be a mother. I want you to treat me like a son on this end, but I don't want you to treat me like a son on this end. Because when I start to feel like I don't have authority and say, that's when I need to be your father. So y'all flip flopping.
I understand what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand.
This is from where I'm sitting, from things that I've heard from you guys on this podcast, from things that I've seen with black men within the black community. It just seems like there's no room for a black woman to have a thriving relationship if she's seeing you from the perspective of a father. But if she's
So
seeing from, and there's no growth for her either, because again, when women tend to go towards guides that remind them of their dads because they have daddy issues, they have more relationship issues with that man for themselves. So there's no benefit in it.
so that go ahead, Chief.
No, I'm just to kind of rebuttal a little bit. So is it not me being treated as the man that I present to be in a relationship by my lady? I mean, the example you gave was fixing a plate. So let's just use that as a baseline. Like, is that not me being treated as a man rather being treated as a son?
No, what I'm saying is you would have a more successful relationship with a black woman if most of the time she treated you the way she treats her son.
No. Go ahead, Chief.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
That's a kind thing, right?
No,
Yeah.
bro.
She could do that for anybody.
So there's a term. There's a term. Q. Go ahead, Q. Let me let you finish this. Go ahead.
No, break down the term here.
Conflate. So you putting just a bunch of shit together, right? But it's all not mutually exclusive,
Kind of like
right?
you with
So
your shitty.
so the coddling. See now here's. Are you good? Are you done? I'll let you. I've been letting everybody rock. Can I? Go, Chief. Q don't want me to say nothing. She's being mean to me. Go, Chief. Go.
I don't got nothing to say, man. I'm listening. I just didn't. I was trying to understand Q's point. I just wanted to. It was going a couple different ways for me, so I didn't quite understand it. So I wanted.
So basically, I had one of your moments. I used the shitty example that couldn't be used to make my point.
Oh my God! And you know, if you watch this back,
the question about an hour ago.
If you watch this back, I get way more props in the comments than y'all niggas. Whatever.
That means nothing. Like, come on, man.
Yo, Asia, please stop. You the LVP. Don't say nothing.
That means nothing.
You be getting your boot smoke. Listen.
And I'm still standing. I'm still every single week. They love me. They come here for me. Don't get me started.
Shit like that.
That's right. You ain't no bitch ass nigga. That's a fact. I agree. Too busy joking around. But so all those things in which you named, wives do that. Daughters do that for their father. That's why it's not exclusive to a son.
Right.
That doesn't go Q. Go.
That's why I brought it closer to home by saying if your girl, wife, whatever, did the things for you that she does for her son, there would be less conflict. You guys would have some more successful relationships.
Okay. So now there's things that she does for her son. There's things that she does for her son. Yeah. Like making his food and all that. But guess what she ain't gonna do to me that she does for her son? Fucking mash it up and put it all together and cut the steak down to little pieces. Right? Because that's her son. Nah, you ain't all right. I'll let you cut me off too many times. My mic is better than yours. Look, so
yo, this dude is wild.
That's not what we're talking about. And there's several things women do for their children, right? But there's certain things they do that they try to do to us that we can't allow and that don't actually benefit the relationships. Like try to coach us and teach us and give us the game and all that. That's one thing she does for her son that she don't need to do for us. That's the part that I cited when I first opened up this question. That's the part that puts us at odds, not them taking care of us. Yeah.
Right. So this may be able to help. If you notice when I said
nah, Adrian, don't help her. Let that shit marinate. God damn it.
I said what I said.
No, seriously.
Can I have an example of what we coach you on? I'm confused.
I just feel like it needs to be a healthy mix. Like, I don't think you can successfully do it without a healthy mix.
That's what I'm saying, Mary. That's what they want is the balance between the two.
Right.
That's what they want.
That's exactly what it is because I have sons. I'm not always trying to coach my son or always trying to do all this and do that the bad shit that y'all talking about. I'm not always trying to do that with my son either. So, you know what I'm saying? In regards to how I do, make sure my son eats all the time. Like it wasn't my job when I was younger to make sure my dad ate. That was my mom's job. So that's not something that I would do for him. So it comes with a healthy mix. But me, I'm going to make sure I feed him like I feed my kids. I'm going to make sure when he's sick that I'm there to bring him back to health. But that wasn't my job when I was younger. That was my mom's job.
Right. And there's some women that feel like a man could take care of himself when he's sick. That's what I'm saying. So he's like, well, that's what a wife does. Not by default. You a grown ass man. You could take care of yourself and drink some Robitussin. But it's preferred if she takes care of you like a fucking son. I just
feel like it should be a healthy mix. That's all.
Men want to be nurtured and cared for also.
Right.
Robitussin is for cough only. Just FYI.
Not according to the
Interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Making the comments too.
Oh yeah. Oh, I gotta start this one.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Sinead, what the
question here?
All right, hold on. Let me read the super chat first. Sinead with the $5 super chat. BCQ pop. Oh, because?
Yes.
What does that mean? Because Q popping and coming for you, nigga. I gotta shout her out. Talk that, Q. 2 exclamation points. We choose partners like our daddies, and we nurture you niggas like our sons.
Mm.
I don't know whatever the fuck that means. Go ahead, Alex.
So I understood. I think what I heard Adrian was saying was that he wants some grace sometimes, but when men fuck up. But it's almost like when women don't agree or they provide a little pushback, it's triggering to their masculinity. It's almost like now you feel like I'm not a man. Now you feel like I'm not leading. And that's not the case. But as your partner, as your wife, as your girl, something's not right. And to Rose's point, I've stood back and I've watched you make mistakes, but I can only do that for but so long. I understood Q's point in saying, like, y'all can say I'm a man of this and the third, but when y'all are sick, y'all are some babies. Y'all want to be treated. Y'all want to be cared for, nurtured, loved on, taking care of all these things. When you come home, you want your plate cooked. You want your plate ready and fixed and everything else. So I understand that. What I heard from Adrian, and I didn't think he was being spicy or giving no vibes, Adrian. I felt your passion. But what I heard, or I thought I heard you say, was that you wanted grace. And that's fine. But to me, I think the bigger thing is that some of y'all men seem to get triggered. Y'all seem to be triggered. So it's just like, it's women. We're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't.
Nigga, y'all ain't that fucking. Let me. I ain't gonna go down that road because y'all need so much fucking work, bro. This shit is chill, and it's crazy how Ro could be facetious with Mike when she responded to him. Right, it was disingenuous, but that was cool. I heard it.
It wasn't this. I was because you know what I was ready to
laughing say. You don't even smile that much. Now you laughing.
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
Man, what's going on, man? Next
Before you
topic.
Said anything, Hamp? I was gonna come on and give Alex the example. I acknowledged what Mike said, and I said, "What did I say, Mike?" I said, "Do you remember what I said?"
We heard you.
Well, listening.
No, I don't want to be your son, so I don't want to.
Shit like that. Shit like that.
Yo, bro, we moving on. You had your shot. We had your shot. You had your shot.
That's all I'm saying.
We let you talk for 4.5 minutes straight.
You said no dead air.
God damn. I mean, you talking like Ben Stein, nigga. Put a little up and down in your voice. Hey man, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Do me a favor, hit that like button right now. That helps the channel the most. All right, let me ask this question. So, I think I can just ask it. I don't even need no context. Will unsubscribing from the Democratic Party help fix Black America? Will unsubscribing from the Democratic Party help fix Black America?
No.
No
knowledge behind needing to do it will. People lack knowledge, knowing the knowledge behind it.
Break that down.
I'm saying you can't they could just be like, oh, let's just unsubscribe. No, you got to know why. You got to know where it started, how everything happens, and be able to understand so that you're successful at unsubscribing. Black people fail at knowledge and knowing things and just want to follow the trend and, I'm going to just stop doing this. But they don't stand on it because they're not knowledgeable why they're doing it.
So why do you think we are all Democrats? I mean, not all don't mean all, but you catch my drift.
I don't think everybody is a Democrat.
But the majority of niggas is Democrats. Why?
But because they feel like they're for Black people and they're not. They're for the Black vote.
Well, I think people do I think niggas follow trends. That might be the problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because they don't know. They lack the knowledge to know what actually is really going on behind the scenes.
So you're saying that this won't be effective unless we know why we're unsubscribing?
Yes, because it's like I said in the first question, Black people have a tendency to not stand on their shit. So if you don't have the right knowledge to be able to understand what's going on and why you're unsubscribing, you're not going to stand on it. Okay.
So, Mary, question. Will unsubscribing from the Democratic Party help fix Black America?
No. Yeah. If you know why you're doing it.
I can't, man. I
can't.
If
you know why you're doing it.
Chief.
Yo.
Will unsubscribing from the Democratic Party help fix Black America?
No, I don't think so. Solely because whether we want to acknowledge this or not, I feel like the Democratic Party is one of the things that like gives Black people a sense of belonging. Like we're all tied in. And me and my partners is Democrat. Like it's the Democratic Party and the goddamn electric slide. That's the only thing that get Black people together. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Wow.
Shit like that.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's when you see Black people band together. You dig what I'm saying? Like we go hard. We'll go hard for the Democratic Party together. Like just like come on, we rocking out together. But like that gives us a sense of like a commonality, a union type thing. You dig what I'm saying? It feels to some people like on a higher scale when you can equate our connection to politics. So I don't think unsubscribing from it will change Black, will help fix Black America. No.
So I'm going to answer the question. I agree. It will not fix the problem in Black America. What I think will fix, because I'm trying to talk about solutions right now. What I think will fix is if Black people truly understood politics, if they truly understood civics and paid attention in high school and did post, high school understanding of what civics and the legislative branch and executive branch and, all the different branches of government, what they did, understanding the politics, understanding the policies, understanding the different, stances and pillars of the vote, like understanding everything about it and not just doing groupthink. That would help fix Black. Go ahead.
I got a couple questions for you. So, in terms of the Democratic Party, we vote Democrat, right? Mm-hmm. But is our thinking democratic? So, as an example, do you think Black people, and I'm not even asking for facts, just what you think based on what you know. Mm-hmm. You think most Black people are pro-choice or pro-life?
I think most are pro-choice, honestly.
So I would assume that most Black people are pro-life.
The reason why I say, and this,
because that's being completely 100, knowing our people, we would err on the side of pro-life.
I'm telling you pro-choice because do you know how many chicks have been to the clinic?
Yeah, I mean, more Black boys are killed in the abortion clinic in New York than.
You just my point.
No, that's one state. That's one state. I mean, I'm saying that, yeah, we have a lot of Planned Parenthoods in our communities for a reason. If Planned Parenthood was created by white supremacists and they locate them in particular places on purpose and we're using it as a form of birth control, I understand that.
So to answer your question, you asked me, do I believe most Black people are really pro-choice or pro-life? I'm saying pro-choice because they make the choice. They're going to the clinics because they're making their choice.
We're actually not. So don't think because we go to the clinics all the time that answers the question. I just know the facts about it
out loud. Because it's taboo. Let's talk. Let's talk.
So what do people say then? Is what I'm asking.
People say what they do because they do two different things. People say pro-life, but what people do is pro-choice.
Yeah. So if you got a lot of, all right, let's just ask. And if my assumption is wrong, then it's wrong. So Asia says that most Black people, and we talking about all of us, not you fluid spiritual people and all that. Alex, you think, and we talking about everybody, not just our generation. We think we pro-life or pro-choice?
I think outwardly we are pro-life, but behind closed doors and when shit hits the fan, we're pro-choice.
Yeah. I know. I heard the same thing Asia said. Q, what you think?
I'm gonna go with pro-choice.
Chief?
I'm gonna go with pro-choice too. Pro-choice too.
Sis?
I think we're generally pro-life.
Mr. White?
Pro-life.
What you think, Mary?
Shit, with as many people on government assistance, we're gonna say pro-life.
Mike, what you think?
I don't have a say in the matter.
But if you had to just be objective.
Not a woman.
So you're saying you don't know if we're pro-life or pro-choice because you're not a girl?
Not a woman. I don't have a dog in that fight.
That's right.
Black babies getting aborted, you don't have a dog in the fight?
I'm not a woman.
I don't know what that means. Are you saying men don't have a choice because you don't birth the baby?
That's what he said.
Right.
You heard
That's
it correctly.
that's fucking.
Put him in the bathroom.
I thought the question
Man.
was
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
People are pro-birth and not pro-life.
yeah. And thank you, Alex. And I thought the question
I'm
was
asking a question right now. So, all right, Mike softly bowed out. So, Ro, what you think?
I agree with Alex. They're more pro birth than life.
What you think, Ro?
That's what I said. They're more pro birth than life.
All right, so life. What's the count, Chief? I can't count that good.
Look like
It's
10 to me,
me.
boss.
No, I mean me, Alex, Adrian,
my bad, I wasn't.
Sis, Mary, Ro. Since Mike is letting women choose, then I guess he would be 7.
Alex said she was pro. Alex not said she was
Don't
pro.
count me in
She
that
she
round.
Oh,
believes
she said
in
most
pro-choice.
people. Most people who
Yeah,
said.
most people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not saying you guys. I'm not saying you
I
guys.
said outwardly, but
Pro-choice.
truly they're pro-choice.
Yeah, you said pro-life, right?
No, I did not.
All right, and you're speculating that when they get home, they lying. Okay, so
Yes.
so I know I'm just saying, but that's all speculation. What they say out loud is what you probably need to believe. You can't assume what they saying in their house. So one. So what's the count? Is it more pro-life? Yeah.
I think so.
So the point is just having that example, and it was a good convo. Even though Mike, he gonna have one less Facebook friend. That's for goddamn sure. Even though, so that's just an anecdotal example. I don't know if it's anecdotal, but just using us. So I feel like black people's views are much more conservative overall, but somehow we continue to vote Democratic. It doesn't align because we are sheeple, to Mary's point sometimes. So if we unsubscribe and go with what the votes in the system that aligns, would it be beneficial? Will we get more things?
Yeah. I do think, to answer the question, I do think it's time for more black people to leave the Democratic Party. It's beyond time. We used to be Republicans in large, and the reason why we switched is we had presidents back then that made policies that were for black people, Democratic presidents, and that is what when the shift happened. You know, if you look at, some of our heroes in the past, they were Republican. MLK's father was Republican before he switched to Democrat due to his son. And this is during the time we saw the most change as far as equality and policies for black people. And so you look at, we just talk shit about Obama, and it's like, how many more times are you going to vote Democrat before you realize they're not making policies for black people?
And I
so
feel
why
like
not?
Go ahead, son.
Go ahead.
But Mike, finish that last thought.
No, I mean, I want to see what she had to say, but like even stuff like the African American Museum, that was signed into law by a Republican president. That was not a Democratic president. So a lot of the things, like as far as funding, HBCU funding, this is not coming from Democratic presidents.
Yeah.
It's coming from Republican presidents.
Yeah. Damn. Go ahead, Mary.
And I feel like I agree because that goes
Who
back.
you got next?
I agree with what Mike said because that goes back to what Chief was saying in regards to everybody is, trying to be a Democrat because they feel like that's where they're supposed to be, because that's where they feel like the, majority lies, instead of really kind of thinking about what you really want to happen, where the changes really need to take place. They're not thinking about that because it's just automatically, this is what I'm doing. Like, for instance, a lot of kids, even growing up, it's like when you go vote, your parent tells you who to vote for. You get what I'm saying? No explanation, no reason behind it. A lot of times they don't even know. And you're just going ahead and voting behind what your parents voted behind and what their parents, stand for, or whatever the case may be, instead of thinking about what's actually happening right now, because a lot has changed today. And, people just aren't aware of that.
Yeah. What's up, Q?
Yeah, I think because we're on the topic, it's interesting how everybody's kind of picking one over the other, like Democrat versus conservative, or I guess you say Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative, right? I think if it's on a national level, black people don't benefit from either. Because if you think about it, where the fuck are we in the wealth gap? So as little that applies for us on the Democratic side is the same percentage in my eyes that applies to us for the conservative side or the Republican side. I don't think that anything that goes through the government or presidency is to benefit niggas. We're in America. So, I mean, to kind of put that narrative out there to, you know, look towards voting Republican and then, you know, we would benefit from some type of change. I don't see that at all. I think that's as false a narrative as getting niggas to be Democratic.
Yeah, so this is where my first point about, like, you know, Black community coming together to really put people in the right spots and our people, not like Barack Obama. You know, a good example is DC, Marion Barry. He created 3 Black billionaires, Robert Johnson, whoever's over TV One, and I can't remember the other woman's name, but his policies created 3 Black.
Kathy
Hughes, and there's a third. But his policies created 3 Black billionaires because he came into office and said, I'm only going to give these contracts to Black people. He was one of us, right? And so I think and then when he got, you know, caught up on those crack charges and all that, he got reelected because we knew that he was still for us. That can't happen today. I mean, you see with some of the politicians, I mean, they get caught doing anything. Black people, in general, we withdraw our support, and I think that's a problem. You know, I think in every major city, there's always going to be a Black candidate of some sort. It just, you know, happens. You know, but we just don't go out and support them because one minor error, and we just say, oh, fuck it, you know, I can't put my weight behind it. So I just think that we have more power than what we believe. But I don't subscribe to saying like we can't do Democratic or Republican. I just think that, you know, creating a third party doesn't work.
Can I just say this though? Because this is very important. If it's not now, it'll be my final thought. On a local level, I want to be clear between the difference of voting for the president and voting on a local level. I think on a local level, there will be benefit to us listening to what the Republican Party has to say on a local level versus being so gung-ho and loyal to the Democratic Party on a local level. So what you just named was an example of something that benefited niggas on a local level, right?
Yeah.
So that's completely different. I want the people to hear that, take that shit in and understand it. Locally, you need to be voting.
Word.
I'll just say this. I think that we do need to divest from both parties because they've been used to us investing in them for various different reasons. And throughout history, both of them have, in some way, shape, or form, turned their backs on us, okay? I think Q is correct. We need to focus on local elections and really start listening to what they're doing because that's the only way that you'll be able to survive. The president has no power but to veto a law or sign a law that Congress passes. I don't understand why everybody's so caught up in the president because the president can't do nothing. He can create temporary laws, but again, those are laws that only Congress can pass. So I don't understand that part. And I agree with Asia. I think a lot of the issue is our kids are not mandated. There's only 3 states in the entire union that require our kids to know our process to graduate high school. Only 3. None of the other ones, they're mandated to learn the state law, state stuff like that, but they only 3 require them to graduate with a high school diploma to know our entire voting process or to know the civics of our country. That is done on purpose. That is not an accident. That's done on purpose.
Interesting.
You know what's crazy? I used to be super pro Obama. I used to be, oh my God, Obama this, Obama that, until I saw Trump come in. And then I realized how little Obama did for us, right? Because you see what Trump is doing through executive orders, pushing the law, you know, to support his people. And then you question, why couldn't Obama do the same? Through executive order, through other ways to make laws, through agreements, because he's unapologetically white. He's an unapologetically white man, wealthy man who's going to fight for white people. Why couldn't we get that from Obama? So I just, my expectation is not higher for any future black president, which may be what's more if we see what happens with him.
So my expectation is also not to vote for your candidate because they're black, because all skin folk and kinfolk. And so that's why I will repeat what I said. We need, as a people, need to understand politics and how laws work and how to read legislation. We need to really understand that as adults. Fine, we didn't get it in high school. Fine. Take your education, take that power back and learn. That's the solution that I'm talking about. I'm talking about solutions tonight. And one of the solutions to fix Black America.
Same one? Same solution you said earlier?
I want to reiterate it. So I think I might have got lost.
Final thought. So
that brown liquor got you being rude, but go ahead.
No, man, I just didn't want to hear the same thing over. So
niggas talk for. Never mind, you got it.
Yeah, I let Ro talk for a long time. Sue me. So they post all the bills every time they all come out. We all can go read them. But that shit got 600 pages. They don't say, fuck that. I ain't reading that shit. But it's all out there.
You want to hide something from a black person, put it in the book.
Word. That's still true, Asia?
Yeah, from what you just said. Yes.
Bruh. Interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. I want to get to these last two real quick. All right, look. Have you guys noticed like the mass exodus from the black church? Have you guys been seeing that?
Yes, I have.
To make sure we're on the same page.
It's remarkable.
So many people, especially men. Very few masculine men in these black churches. So my question is, will subscribing back to the church help fix the Black America?
Nope.
Will subscribing back to the church help fix Black America? Because to Chief's point, at one point it was Democrat, Christian, and electric slide. And I think most of us still say we Christian in some shape or form. But that community in the church, did that make a difference on several different factors in our communities?
Nope. It was allowed to be used. I think when black people went to church and created church as a god, basically, that's what we did. It morphed into that. And that's how it was able to be used for political purposes. You had a candidate come to church, you already know that you won the vote. So it was weaponized against us. I don't think that if black folks resubscribed going back to the church, that would help Black America. Absolutely not. Not this version of Christianity. No. The true version, yes. But this westernized version, absolutely not. And you know how I am anyway. I'm expanded consciousness Christian. I don't subscribe to hey, we already had this conversation. But I think that if we rethought Christianity, when you say the church, I'm going to assume you mean Christianity, the Christian church, correct? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So I think if
what? Go ahead. I'm just thinking.
Religion, if you're saying religion, that's something different. I just want to make sure I'm talking about.
Yeah, look, we can stay with church. That's fine.
Okay, so I don't think it would help fix Black America, and it created a lot of robots and sheep. We just got them calling people sheep, and that was a part of it. It created a manufactured sheep as well, and that is to our detriment. If it was reconfigured and went back to its origins, true origins, and allowed us to be critical thinkers and expanded consciousness, then yes, it would help fix Black America. But the way it has been, the way it is now, nope.
The downfall of the Black church came when they started preaching about prosperity.
Break that down.
So they started preaching about prosperity in the church. And basically they were trying to say that if you give to your pastor, then you're going to receive tenfold in whatever it is your desires are. And so these preachers were wearing the gold chains. They was flying in the jets. They was doing all this stuff. And so, of course, when it comes to politics is really about money. Who can raise the most? That's when they got involved. And at that point, the downfall of the Black church was when they started preaching about prosperity. Even Creflo Dollar in the Dollar Dome had to come back around and recently say that he made a mistake by preaching that stuff.
Who are you talking about? Tides.
Yes, and that was part of his thing. I don't know if anybody's ever been there, but when he would not allow anybody to put any loose chains in there. You had to go to the ATM. You had to put bills in there. There are things that he was doing, and then got investigated and all of this other stuff. Where at that point, once they started preaching that stuff and became about money, there was no longer about people actually volunteering and giving yourself in the spirit. It was all about in the spirit of money so that you can multiply whatever it is that you needed. And that was the downfall.
I want to go back even further, back in slavery times, when they were teaching from the slavery Bible, and a lot of those same principles about being meek and humble and turn the other cheek, like there were certain principles that they taught out of that Bible back in the church in the 1800s. So I've been even going back before prosperity gospel happened. Church has been weaponized against Black folks for centuries. Is all I'm gonna say.
But tithing is warranted though,
I'm not
right?
talking about tithing right now. I'm talking about turning their cheek all the time, and talking about slaves be good to your masters. Like, no, going back to that far, I'm talking about. So if you're talking about prosperity preaching, you're talking about Rhonda. You're talking about with tithing. You referring to her topic?
Well, no, I'm just saying. You're saying that. Well, I don't understand. So you're saying that what they taught us, they were teaching in the new churches also.
They still are. Yeah.
No, I'm saying, so what they were teaching back in the 1800s, they were teaching still today?
Absolutely. There's a lot of things they're still teaching us today that they're teaching back in the 1800s from the slavery Bible. Yes.
So I mean, she's talking about like the role of Christianity and like violence around the world. Like Christianity is one of the most violent religions in the history of the world. If you think about, erasure and destruction and what they've used in the name of God to destroy people. But to the question, I think no, because the church, Black people have evolved. The church used to be the cornerstone of the Black community. If you wanted to do politics, our leaders came from churches. If you wanted to do anything in the world, they came from churches. They were brilliant in churches, and churches were an economic driver of Black communities. But since then, to everybody, that just spoke, it's changed, and it's become more about money and shame, and not really about bringing the community together. I know y'all don't really like him, but Dr. Umar said, if my religion says that I have to die in order to experience the heaven that the white man is receiving on earth, that's a religion I don't need. And I believe that's been the downfall of the Black church. Teaching us something that we can never receive. You're not uplifting us as a people, and you're just asking for money, but we're not seeing that pour back into the community.
Word. Go ahead, Q.
Yeah, I was just gonna piggyback off of what Mike just said towards the end, and I fuck with Dr. Umar the long way, by the way. But yes, I agree with that sentiment there. That if you're not believing that you can have heaven on earth, then what do you really reach for when you wake up on a day to day? A lot of times you look at people who are of the Caucasian race and their levels of prosperity and the things that they have. And it's almost as if they've taken on our ways of understanding God and religion and gave us theirs in exchange, which is the bullshit. So you see them, they're doing everything that needs to be done. They speak to things, positive this and affirmations that. And I think what's happened with this exodus is that we are kind of returning back to that. So when you look at the church, I had to step back on my spiritual journey, and when I started to see things in the church, I saw it a little bit different. And one of the things I noticed is that church is almost like hospitals. The pastor is going to give you just enough for you to feel good, but enough to come back. So you're not really getting fed enough to keep yourself sustained and do something in your community. So I don't see no benefit to that. It's like, I'm going to tell you that God can take care of everything, but also put the fear of the devil in you so that you have a codependency. It's a weird thing. But I think that what's happened with a lot of us is we're coming under this new awakening. And that's where that exodus is coming from, in my opinion.
I think with that new awakening comes more so just on understanding or facilitating a relationship with God. I think, and to quote urban Negro philosopher / spoken word artist Jamal St. John, he says, if God created everything and is everywhere, then how come you chastise me for not going to church? Like the only place I can find God is there. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we can find God in everywhere, every corner of our lives. And I think that is what keeps us from, I mean, like they say now, you don't even need school. You can find everything you need on the internet and educate yourself in ways that, you know, you wouldn't believe. So I think the same can be applicable when it comes to understanding and learning God and quote, you know, the Bible, whichever version it is you want to study or whatever. But I think we can get a lot of those, I don't know, what's the word? A lot of those religious fittings from just, you know, online activity, speaking to the elders and things of that nature. I don't think the church is necessarily the fix for us all.
Or Mr. White, you had something. Well, real quick, tell the poet I know where he stole that from. Jesus said it in Matthew 18. So tell him, hold this.
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
Niggas be trying to act like. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead, Mr. White. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it would be helpful if we did, just because, again, everything is so divided. I think the key is we have to make sure we're picking a church that has sound doctrine. And the reason why we don't know is because we don't study to show ourselves approved, right? So if we were reading the Bible and studying the Bible for ourselves, we would know what type of churches we need to that we should belong to. But we don't. We go to, that's just like going to a bad hospital and, because their hospital is bad, I'm giving up on all hospitals. But it's because you don't even know what you're supposed to be getting while you are there. So I don't think the issue is the church. The issue is people are lazy. People don't want to read the Bible for themselves. And just because, I'm a pastor, they're not really pastors. Just because they call themselves a pastor or a teacher or an apostle, but you can't even decipher the difference because you don't know. And so where it messed us up at is now it's pushing us all away from the Bible, which if you read the Bible for yourself, it literally will prevent you from going through a lot of the things that you've been through that has caused the trauma in your life and for you to put up the walls outside of childhood, right? Like who you allow access to you and all of those, everything we touch, I promise y'all it's in there, but we cut it off because of the people who we listen to teach it to us. So that's my little 2 cents.
You know, I wanted to talk about like the social contract between the Black community and the church. It's been broken over the years. Like if I pay, if I put, $1,000 into my house year after year after year, 20 years, after 20 years, I'm going to see something. I'm going to see the result of my money and investment in this house. It is actually tangible. With tithes, which I just can't get into the concept of that. What is my direct benefit from investing in a church for that long? Nothing. I mean, yes, they may have community programs, but the government can do that. What is the church doing with the money, and the congregation and what they pull together? I think Evander Holyfield said he used to give millions to a church. And then when he went bankrupt, he went to that church to ask for help, and they said, hey, I can't help you, brother.
Yeah, I remember that.
In corrupt little dollars, church, I just feel like no one should be broke. No one should ever have an issue with paying rent. People should not have any financial issues because of how much money he's been able to make over the years. But that's just not how it is. And that's that social contract. It's that prosperity gospel. It screwed us.
So I have a question, and now with the tithing thing, that's still something I'm studying for myself, right? But my thing is, we're willing to give money to everything else. So why is it an issue when it comes to the church? We don't mind going to the club, paying. We pay money everywhere.
Because I get something.
Hold on. To go to be around people, we pay money everywhere else for the environment and for everything else. But the church, I can't give it to them.
So if I go to the club and pay $20 to get in, the contract is I'm gonna see bitches. You know, that's the contract, right?
Shit like that. Shit like that.
Something tangible almost immediately. And if I don't, then I don't come back, right? That's fine. The church encourages you to come back and donate, and there's nothing that you receive, anything tangible over the years. And that's the problem.
If you think about it, most pastors are just well-paid motivational speakers. So it's like whoever speaks to you. If you are into business, who's into business? Who's the motivational speaker for that? Tony Robbins? If you're into sports, isn't that hip hop preacher Mike, whatever? You get what I'm saying? So, I'm into Jesus. That's your pastor. A highly paid motivational speaker is who's going to speak to everything that you want to hear, but it's anything that gets you going the same way you could get out of a motivational speaker. That's what it's become. So there's no real benefit. I mean, I was going to ask Mr. White, where is this church that you speak of? At least one of them.
So mine is fire, but my opinion of what a church is supposed to do is a lot different than other people, right? So I love my pastor in the church I go to because he's big on discipline, accountability, and obedience. And so that's what he teaches to challenge me. And then it's me learning from him is what pushed me to really start reading the Bible for myself, to where now I don't necessarily go there just to be taught. And now I know my purpose of being there is to the people, right? So the relationship that I have been able to cultivate with all of these other men who are now struggling in their marriages, or they literally have nobody to turn to. Had I not been at that space, I would have never been able to connect with them. Right. So it's not my pastor. I'm not at a place to where, I need my pastor to feed me this every day. No, I'm to a place to where it's up to me to do it. But this community where the focus is discipline, character, like love, accountability, that's what I need. That's what I needed. That literally propelled me to the man that I am today.
Right. So that's not like something.
I don't tithe. If I don't tithe, nobody don't say nothing to me. I don't even be tithing like that. I offer. Because like I said, it's something I'm still struggling, something I'm still working on learning for myself. But the teaching that I got there was very sound.
Mm-hmm. So that sounds like some personal shit, though. That doesn't sound really, and no disrespect, that doesn't really sound like a church that would further or fix the Black community or Black America. It sounds like it sounds like, let me land. It sounds like it's a benefit to you, and you're getting what you need to get out of it. And I fuck with that, because just because I subscribe to something doesn't mean that the world should subscribe to it. That's my opinion, right? So that's something that you get out of that. It could be something different for the next person, and what they're getting out of their belief in God or their religion is bringing them to a whole different level in life, to where they're doing abundant work in their community, right? So I don't, the way that you were describing it at first, I'm like, oh wow, so there is that one church, because I don't see the benefit of churches for the Black community as far as fixing them. But again, it doesn't sound like you're saying, and in this many months we went from being 100,000aires to millionaires, or we went from doing this to fixing these amount of things. It's like, I got the discipline and the structure and almost that mentorship that I needed, which I think you can't easily find in a church. And not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, I don't think anybody should just be throwing the Bible away just for anything. I think if God is speaking to you directly, then you're going to be led in what you need to be doing. So,
right. But when
whoever's doing that, stepping away from the church, they don't need to, shame on them.
Right. But when you look at the issues with the Black community, it's the division, it's the lack of discipline, it's the lack of morals. You know what I'm saying? Those are the main things with why there's so much division. It's the lack of accountability. If we all were on the same page in those areas, we would do better as a whole.
Right, but that's not limited to the church.
I'm not saying it was, but I'm saying it would be helpful if we went to a church. And that's why the thing I said differently was sound doctrine, right? The Bible is really about like obedience matters. Understanding matters. Being able to be held accountable to a higher moral, like that matters. And because we don't have that and we all have different things that we value, that's why the division is going to continue to grow.
But church is
that's all I'm saying. So I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah, church is such a business now, such a cash cow. It's such a business now. Where are you seeing that in large numbers? So you're talking about, I think maybe what you're probably speaking to is creating churches that will fix the Black community, not necessarily the church being a fix for Black America, because the church as we know it, that's a big cash cow. That's a money maker right there. You know what I mean? That's a business. Right. Like, oh, I want to invest in a church. I want to start making some bread. That's a hustle. You feel what I'm saying? Right. So it's like now you get all these people there, and you get their money, you get their investment, because they're really having this belief. But in a way, the church becomes a crutch to people. So that accountability piece isn't there, because it's like, why do I need to pray when I could go to the pastor and tell him about my ailment, or tell him about my marriage, or tell him about my problem? He's gonna do the work for me. But stepping away sometimes is gonna force you into, okay, I gotta do this shit for myself. That's why I said I think there was a spiritual benefit to the pandemic. Because when you close them churches down, now it's like, what the fuck, God? Here I am, God. It's you and God now.
Well, I agree with you in terms of, I feel like the majority, I'll say like 98% of them are that way. But that's why I started with saying finding one with sound doctrine, because they're not going to tell you to do none of those things that you said. So it is a hard find, right? I'm not saying, hey, this church that I'm seeing, it's everywhere, right? And it may not even have to be a building. Like I definitely think these things are happening in different types of places just because of what the church has become. But even if you take that outside of it, when you look at the community piece and just the alignment piece, we were doing better, right? People had a lot more support than we do now. And a fist is better going the wrong way. You know, eventually at least that fist can come around together versus a million things scattered. Now nothing can get done. But if you got a group of people going one way, eventually maybe that group can turn to the right way and something get done. But all right, next topic. We ain't about to hog this whole thing up.
Well, just in terms of clarification with some of the things that were said. So the Bible, I think the acronym is Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. So if you look at it as that, and you take the law, statutes, and commandments and use them to guide you, that's where you benefit. All this private interpretation and doing as you will is where we getting fucked up at. So, for instance, if you just take tithe as an example, in Deuteronomy 14, the priests did not work. They dwelled in the temple. So twice a year, you give them money or food or whatever it is that you could provide to them, because they didn't do anything else, right? So they needed the other tribes to provide for them. If you go to Acts 4 in the New Testament that the Christians love so much, they brought all their stuff together, they cashed it out, and then they said, okay, you need $100? Here, you take that. You need $50 because you're doing all right, you take that. So that's Acts 4. You can start at verse 30, Ro, because you know the Bible so well. I saw you thinking.
No,
So
I don't think they were talking about cash money. I thought they were talking about.
Yeah, they cashed it all in. They brought all their goods, and they say, okay, you left with what you need.
They were talking about goods. They weren't saying cash.
So remember, so they brought the goods, right? They liquidated them, and then they say, you need this, you take that, so on and so forth, right? So money is goods, right? Because it was trade and barter. Stay with me now. This is in Acts. So this is what year? Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. So, you know what I mean? So if you just read it for what it says, it's pretty plain, but we try to like do too much with it. Right. So when you talk about the pastors, Mike, and we all talk, or Q especially, they don't just do the church. They got a million other jobs. They doing marriage counseling and all some other shit. Then why are you taking a salary? Because the Bible says you only need tithes because you ain't doing nothing else but taking care of the flock and preaching and doing, you know, so on and so forth. So no, it's interesting, man. Interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Do me a favor, hit that like button right now. That helps the channel the most. Shanae want to be on the podcast so bad. Where is she at? All right. Last topic, I think. So I ran this question by Ro yesterday. And I had another question that felt similar. So I kind of combined them, Ro. I think I did a good job, but I'm not sure. Asia jumped off, I think. All right. I'm just gonna pose it. Will restoring the family structure help fix Black America? What this would also entail was getting married early on, getting married because of necessity. So what I mean by getting married older on is like before, maybe during college, right after college, maybe before college. In terms of necessity, men and women thinking they can do this shit alone, we can't. And I think we see the drawbacks of that. And then promiscuity and all that rises, right? We would devalue ourselves, men and women, because our principles aren't the same. Now, Asia, you nodding. Make no mistake. If I fuck 10 women and you fuck 10 niggas, you are in the back. Hold on.
Put him in the fucking bathroom. Get him out of here.
We ain't in the same bathroom.
We both whores. We both in the whore section. We both in the whore section.
My bathroom got toilet paper and it got the other thing you can dry your hands with. Your shit, they got newspaper.
All right, we're both in the whore bathroom.
Just to give you some understanding, it is not the same.
Yes, it is.
Sis woke. Okay, sis. I see you. Sis, pop this off for me.
Bruh.
Well, restoring family structure help fix a Black community. That includes getting married early on, getting married because of necessity.
Yeah, I kind of wish I would have went through with one of those engagements. I think I'd be better.
Shit like that.
I think I would be so stressed out and doing everything by my damn self. So that does get tiring. But it got to get done.
Yeah. Mike, Chief, how long she made that man wait?
13 of them things.
13 years.
Wow. 13 of them things.
So, sis, you think this will help us if we were to try to take on some of those old school principles?
Yeah, I do. I think
the
so.
Marriage and family structure. Okay. What you think, Mary? Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Nah, you good. Go ahead, Mary.
Go ahead, Mary.
I definitely do think family structure overall, would help fix the Black community. I feel like we kind of missed that aspect of it because everybody's so used to the broken home thing. The benefits and the disadvantages of the broken home thing. So I feel like if people do start getting married and focusing on their families and building good families, strong families, that it definitely could change. Again, like the parenting is so different because I've experienced it personally, is so different raising a child with one parent versus raising a child in a 2-parent household. I think people like to ignore that, and that's a big thing. Like fathers need their dad, boys need their dads, and girls need their moms.
Word. Okay. So sis, Mary said yes. Anybody disagree? Because the question I layered it because I layered it because there's a lot to answer there. Go ahead, Adrian.
It is a very loaded question, and it makes a lot of assumptions. By the way it's worded, right? But getting married early on and getting married out of necessity, doing anything out of desperation is not going to be a solution for anything. And that's my necessity, because I have to get married, or else. Like, that's a fear tactic. And I don't believe that's a solution based principle. Early on, I'm not sure what early on means, but I think when you're ready, when you are ready.
I qualified it.
Yeah, again, you may not be ready in college. I heard what you said. Has there been training done? Has there been counseling
Why
done?
you say you don't know what it means if you heard what I said? I qualified it.
Because I asked. Because I said that. Because I did.
Don't act like you didn't
why
get
you
clarity.
interrupt me? Like, because I did.
I mean, because you trying to act like I ain't clarified the
I've
question.
been quiet all night, though. You know what I'm saying? I've been real respectful.
I'm
and
just
quiet all
saying,
night.
don't act like I ain't clarified the question. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
Go ahead.
and I'm answering it though. So
Put him in the fuck.
Go ahead.
I was like, I'll put that a sound effect right now. Put you in the bathroom. So we have to ensure that they're ready though, emotionally, because you could cause trauma and then it could still end up in divorce. So just because you're getting married early on doesn't mean that you're ready. So I think there has to be some type of training, some type of classes. Like there has to be something before you get married to make sure it's done properly. Just it sounds like arranged marriages just trying to come back in the picture, and I don't agree with that. So
they still exist,
right? Not as much here than the United States, though. They don't exist as prevalent here in the States as they do over in like India or in China.
But they're successful too, and there's a lot of people in India.
White people do it.
Wait, you think you can be trained for marriage? You said there should be some type of training. So
something you can't just throw two people together. I think there should be some type of counseling. There should be some type of education. So training, education, whatever. There should be some type of. So I can't answer everybody's question at once. So I'll answer one person at one time. Which one? Mary, Shonda, which one?
No, don't answer me because then it's gonna go into a statement, and him don't like that shit.
Okay.
I was asking, what about the rich people that do it?
That doesn't mean that they're successful because they're rich and got married and stayed together. So they can. I don't know if they should have counseling too. I think anybody that enters into a marriage contract should have education first. So just because the rich does it does not make it the right way or that it's right. They need education as well. So I think anybody that gets married needs education first, like understanding who you are as a person, understanding that you can't just walk away when the first time of an argument, making sure you're healthy emotionally. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and just putting people together early on because out of necessity to bring back family structure is not the answer. I think some other stuff needs to happen prior to.
But you know that some of that stuff doesn't work until you're actually in the marriage.
I agree with that, but then people will still walk away if they're not properly prepared and taught. Right.
You can never be prepared for marriage, just like you can never be prepared for kids. Like the before aspect of it.
I go to classes though. I mean, you've been well, let me put it this way. I did. When I was pregnant, I went to classes to get somewhat prepared. So I wouldn't be totally a novice. I did. I went to classes before.
They can't teach you though.
It's not about can they teach you. I was prepared. It helped prepare me. And so there are classes, prenatal classes, to prepare parents. So does it teach you everything? Of course not. But does it help prepare in some ways? Yes.
So you feel like that was you feel like whether it be premarital or prenatal, you feel like that was beneficial.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
What was to come?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. When I got my prenatal classes, it helped. So I wasn't totally unaware. And so premarital counseling, I think also would help you not be so unaware. So you're not so surprised when it does happen. Will it tell you every single scenario? Of course not. That's not real life. But will it help you be like, you're going to get in an argument or just because he didn't come home? I mean, it gives you different scenarios, right? So I think that it would be very helpful.
So you can do that when you're young though, right?
You can do that when you're young, but I'm saying, listen, what I said was before that happens early on, the education needs to happen. So you can't just throw two people together. So yes, you can, but make sure when put in college classes, since you wanted to get married in college, put it part of your marriage 101, and then do the elective, and then the second and the third year. Like put them kind of classes in college then or high school.
So you feel like with the pre-education, you can just throw people together? I feel like you can
throw people together. No, I don't think throw people together. I think
they have a connection. If they have a connection, first of all, nobody can throw you into anybody else.
Correct.
But
Correct.
If you decide that you want to join into something with somebody, that's of course completely up to you. but I feel like you really won't know anything until it happens. Like there's no like pre-class. Like how many prerequisites do we take in college, and then we get to our major and it's like, damn, what the fuck?
It helped build the blocks though. It was building blocks though. When I did my prerequisites for my major, it helped build up to the major, to the classes from after my major.
That shit. I feel like I forgot most of that shit. So,
Oh yeah, no, it helps provide building blocks for my major. And again, for the prenatal, that helped me as well.
Let me get Q then sis. I just looked up the stat. The global divorce rate for arranged marriages is 6%.
That's impressive.
That's what I was thinking when I looked at it. And then in India, it's 4%.
It's very impressive.
Because they're.
I
don't.
Go ahead, Mike.
Do you understand what happens when an arranged marriage splits? Do you know what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say.
Like penalty, perjury.
Right. There's things that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So
you can, whatever. I'm just saying that the rate is the rate. And it's still impressive. I'm impressed by it. Like
it is, but let's not put it into a vacuum though, Ham's all I'm saying.
But I don't want to take away from it either.
So can I bend it a little bit? Nice. Let me lead by saying I do aspire to be married one day. However, is the foundation of marriage the primary emphasis or the primary point in family structure? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get being married and creating and raising a family and so on and so forth, but that can still be successfully done without the title of without being married. You dig what I'm saying? I know it's, we just talked about the Bible and all the other good stuff, but in essence, like, two people can't be together, live happily, and raise children to have a solid family foundation?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's the biggest threat to our wealth as a community is the lack of marriage. Because so much wealth is passed through marriages and generations.
I get that.
You know what the biggest, because Mike, and I think, well, what Mike said, I think is probably the most substantive reason. But in relationships, people assume that you're supposed to be happy all the time.
Yep.
Right? Marriage, you right, just with that contract, you got to understand that happiness is not a given each and every day. Right? And people assume that happiness is even supposed to be on the top. Nah. Duty, responsibility, purpose.
All that.
You know what I mean? Like, happiness, I think, is a little bit overrated. And it's,
I disagree.
I just think, I'm just saying, I just think it is, like, and I'm not saying it's rated low, but it's overrated sometimes because there's so many more valuable things that you could do with another person.
I don't disagree in that regard, but isn't that the reasoning behind a lot of divorces? I just wasn't happy. He wasn't making me happy.
It's poor reasoning, yeah.
Oh no, without a doubt. But I mean,
society has convinced you that happiness is a reason to stay married, or lack of happiness is a reason to divorce,
or love,
or love.
Yeah.
So my parents were in an arranged marriage. My mom says to me all the time, "What a privilege it is to marry for love." I mean, that's a very Western thing. It's very new to Western tradition to marry for love.
Yeah.
And then when you involve love, you actually add more complexities to marriage, because you're saying that if I'm not in love or I fall out of love, therefore this marriage is not successful. But marriage has never been historically about love. It's always been about combining communities and resources, again, wealth.
Yep.
So, when you see, and I see it in the comments too, I see somebody was like, what about people that don't want to be married, or, not everybody wants to be married? I challenge that. I guarantee you, if you have 10 people that say they don't want to be married, 9 of them is because of a traumatic reason. Their parents probably had a shitty marriage. They can't find a mate. They've been screwed over enough times, or they've given up on love. All of these reasons are not a reason to not be married. You just have given up. And so I'm 36. I'm still trying to be married because I understand the importance generationally for having that unit.
Yeah. Q and sis, y'all jump in. Mike, I was looking at this a study, and I mentioned it to the ladies yesterday. It's kind of has some. I think what Mike just said. 80% of women who are past what was it childbirthing age or something, is that the right way to say it?
Childbearing years, you said.
Childbearing years
Mm-hmm.
wish they had a child.
Mhm.
You know, and a lot of them were well educated, right? They chased the bag as opposed to the, you know, and I feel like that just kind of aligned with your point a little bit. Go ahead, Q.
Okay. But I'm not speaking to that, right? I'm speaking to the question.
Yeah. That was just me.
Now that's dope. I fuck with it. Yeah. Ironically, I agree with some of what Asia was putting down, and I think that having marriage counseling or some type of counseling has its benefits. I see where Mary's coming from with, like, putting two people together, and it's going to be that experience that's really going to teach you how that's going to go. But I think what ends up happening and why you see those divorce rates so high is because people don't know what to expect when expecting. Like, so to Hamp's point, it's like, I'm supposed to be happy every day.
Mhm.
They're in this fantasy, like the Disney movie marriage. And if there was something that would show them the difference between a toxic situation, a non-toxic situation, an argument that has substance that could be trauma-based, an argument that may lead to some shit that's going to be the worst thing for your marriage, and having that kind of, like, I don't know what to call it, but some type of blueprint. I think that would be so beneficial to people, because I think what you end up seeing is you see people who stay in relationships for too long that are very toxic, that have no benefit, that are not going to go anywhere. And then those end up blowing up in a divorce, or people who walk away from something prematurely that was beneficial because they saw things that they thought were toxic or no good for them. So, now, as far as like it being a benefit to get married early on, I don't know in our society now, with the way that the economy is, that it would benefit either person in that couple to be married young. You could disagree with me on this, but I think getting to the bag and getting something established early would be a bigger benefit. But obviously having some balance in there to where if you do want to have children, you're not like right on that threshold of, now I can't have any child because my health doesn't allow for it. So I think it's a way to balance that. But like if you're like 21 to 25, I don't think you need to be tied up in no marriage. Like that's a heavy thing to take on so early on, in my opinion, and that comes somewhat from experience as well. When you say restoring the family structure, what do you mean by that? Like, do you mean like if two people fucked and they had a baby, they need to be married, they need to stay together?
Yeah. So wife, husband, children together, one house, no bastard children.
Mm-hmm.
That structure.
Right. Okay. Now again, that's something that I have to disagree with, just because I'm gonna try to say this from a realistic perspective, right? In a perfect world, that would be ideal. If the first person you ever laid with, you stayed with. But because that's not usually how things work, I think that child needs that both parents in their life, but to force those two people to have a union, to make a family out of that, I don't think that's beneficial. Again, I think it goes back to, now you're probably gonna have that shit end in divorce because you weren't doing it responsibly to begin with, right? I think if you're going about it the right way, you're probably gonna have the family structure first and then the babies after.
Yeah.
You have the baby first, fuck it, throw the whole shit away.
Yeah. But I think we look at sex as just for recreation. And I feel like we got the game fucked up.
So is sex only to procreate, not for recreation?
Procreation is the main objective.
Mm-hmm.
And then
But wait, so there's women out there and men that can't have kids. So what does that mean? They don't have the privilege to have sex?
I'm saying what the main function of it is.
Right. So when you don't have that function at all, you
Get
still
married. Get married and have sex with the person you married with.
I didn't hear you.
You still shouldn't be fickle with it, is all I'm saying. So if we looked at it as a reason to have children, would we be so fickle? Would it be so fickle and just superficial just to have sex?
And it's not just to make love to the person that you love and want to
No.
be. I'm asking.
Well,
I'm really asking.
Yeah, your husband and wife. Yeah, I mean, and if you use the good, what I think is a good book, they be getting it popping. Solomon be eating cheeks and all that.
Okay.
He be getting dome and everything. So that's definitely a part of it. I'm just saying that's definitely a part of it, but that's with his wife though. You know what I mean?
He had 1,000 wives.
700. So
okay, close to 700,000.
But yeah, so with us,
go
ahead.
I just want
to get sis in. Go ahead.
Oh, sis didn't talk.
Go ahead.
So I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's so clinical and so, I don't know, sterile for it to be for procreation. That's the primary function. Because, like I said, there's people that can't have children. Some women can't have kids, some women can't have kids. Fine. And like I said before in previous podcasts, not everybody wants to have kids. So that's a whole other topic for a different day. I just want to see where your thoughts are where it came to having sex, because you're saying it is to procreate. So if you cannot procreate, do you believe it is not a privilege you should indulge in if you can't procreate because or don't want to procreate?
It just ill, like you have to answer for some outliers, right? The majority of people is what we're talking about. So the outliers, become a eunuch. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But just in terms of people having babies, sex, that's the primary function. That's it, right? And there's pleasure in it, of course, right? That's what makes it so difficult to not have sex, right? Without intention.
I just want to know what your thoughts were on that. That's all. It wasn't a right or wrong answer. I just want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I got you. You know,
and remember a while back at your career, we had a conversation about marriage. And one of our boys was like, his parents had a bad year. You know, they had a whole year where they could not connect, and they stayed together. And I think about that today. Like, imagine if here, if you had a bad year, would you still stay in that marriage? You know.
Yeah, damn, that
was profound. When he said that, I was like, why? Because it goes to show like they saw the bigger picture, and I think that people can get married young. It requires a lot of grace, and the reality, 20 years from now, you may not like the person that they've grown into, but it's just understanding that you enter into a marriage, and you're going to continue to work at it. And I believe in marriage. I believe in working at problems, and I don't believe in quitting when it gets hard. But that's everybody.
Yeah.
I just want to add this last piece in before sis speaks. I'd be curious to know the real number, not the statistical bullshit that you pull him, but the real number of people who actually have successful marriages who come out of single family households versus those with successful marriages who come out of 2-parent households.
Say the last part again.
I just said I'd be curious to know what the real number is of people who have successful marriages that come out of single parent households versus people with successful marriages who come out of 2-parent households. I believe the number would be higher for people coming out of single parent households for some strange reason, but I'd be curious to know the real number.
No, I get what Q's saying. I feel like in a way,
no.
Let me.
People duplicate what they see.
No,
but if you didn't see it growing up, you don't even recognize it in the same way.
But also, if you haven't seen
it was sis' term. She said she wanted to get that in before sis was going.
It becomes a desire. Like y'all forget.
No, here's what's gonna happen.
Miss, when you
younger, got that. She slipped that in. I understand that. And now sis gonna go to marry. You could come back.
You don't agree.
Agree with what? I think she dead ass wrong.
Exactly. You're not agreeing with what she said. I'm saying
that's not true.
Saying How can you say it's not true? She just said she
How
wanted
can you say it is true?
I'm saying I can see her point of view because you know
She
how
didn't even make no point of view. She said she asked the question. She said she wondered how they would be. She didn't even give a reason why.
she did state that she believes that.
But she didn't say why. She didn't surround it with any information.
So I'm saying that
You ain't saying it's sis turn. That's what I'm saying to you. And then you could come back.
You don't agree. You don't let nobody talk when you don't agree.
You don't know. Nigga, it's mad. There's mad episodes and podcasts where y'all talk a bunch of bullshit and I let it ride. So you know what? I ain't gonna hit the button.
You think it's bullshit. Somebody else may agree.
So what? It's an opinion-based show. So y'all say a lot of shit. I'll let y'all filibuster and do some other shit. You be talking, saying the same point over and over. I very rarely cut it off. So don't act like I don't let shit go that I don't agree with. Because half of y'all don't even. Boy, I'm telling you. That bus was short, but I don't say nothing. That bus was short as a motherfucker, but I let y'all ride. So please don't try to put that stigma on me, man.
It's the truth.
Y'all niggas, hating ass niggas. Sis.
You a hating ass nigga.
All right, Mary. All right. Pause. Just pause. What can you pose a question for me? Because y'all,
oh my god, I just argue with Mary.
I mean, there was a lot of different points. I'm not even sure
Mary,
what to respond
to. Hold on, sis. Mary, I want to apologize.
I'm just saying,
my
I'm trying to figure
conduct,
out what
thinking that sis was prepared.
I don't know what you're referring to. Y'all all over the place. I don't know if we're talking about women not having kids.
Ask something else.
Mary, hold on. Let me get clarity.
All right.
Y'all, what am I responding to? Y'all talked about women, 80% of women wanting kids but not having them. I don't know what y'all talking about right now.
That was just a quick
Give
insert.
me a question.
Damn, I'm sorry, Mary. Will now I forgot the question. Can somebody? All right, Will. Let me let this go. Real restoring the family structure help fix Black America.
I thought I went first, so I thought there was a different question by now. Didn't I go first? Adrian, help me.
No.
Q, I didn't go first on this one.
No, Asia did. And so some of the things that we included in it was getting married early and getting married because of necessity.
Okay, we just gotta play the tape back. I went first.
Oh yeah, she did. She said she wished she would have accepted one of those.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Now apologize.
Let that nigga know, sis.
Apologize to sis.
Who?
You.
Shit.
Look at you.
I apologize on his behalf, sis. I apologize on his behalf.
That toxic masculinity showing.
Oh my goodness. That sounds that is so soft. Also, sis, you see what she been doing to me all show? Now I gotta apologize? Shit. All right, go ahead, Mary. What you want to say?
Nah, you don't like my response, so you don't want to hear it. You're not about to put no little sound wave on me.
No, I mean it's probably some bullshit, but go ahead.
All I said was I can believe why Q questions it.
Why is that?
I understand why she questions it, because when you're younger and you have those things that you missed, you desire it when you get older. So if you didn't see a 2-parent household in your home, but maybe the friend down the street do, that's gonna make you want to be like, you know what, like this child had a better life, like growing up. I wish I could have that. So you grow up and do that.
No. Yeah, that's fair.
No, that's not fair, because the work that it takes to make a marriage work, that desire is not enough to hold up. But if you actually see it, okay, my dad stayed with her for this long. That's a huge difference versus just the one. Think about how many things you don't wanted to do with your life, but as soon as you got into it and seen what it consists of, we stopped doing it. But that one ain't enough.
But I
still love you though, man.
Listen, though. I feel like so many things can happen too, where it'll turn, it can turn you off as well, to be like, I ain't getting married. Look at they ass arguing again. I ain't doing this shit.
I know a lot of people over the age of 35 that's more single than a $2 bill. So and they come out of 2-parent households. So that's what I'm saying. I would be curious to know what the real number is, because it's giving like, damn, what did y'all really see? You know what I mean? It's the same thing when people say, and I'm not advocating for any particular group or myself in this, but it's like when people say the ignorant shit, like if two people of the same sex raise a child, the child's gonna be gay because that's what they're seeing. That's not factual. You know what I'm saying? It's like, think about that. Where the fuck do gay people come from? Hetero couples. And a lot of times I've seen hetero couples together. But some of that trauma comes from shit that they saw that they didn't like or experiences they had amongst hetero people. So it's like, I don't really subscribe to that whole thing of kids need to see the mother and the father and the this and the that, and that's gonna make them better than most other people in society. Like some of y'all be fucked up. No disrespect to you, him, because you got your shit. Like I see you, but I'm just saying, like coming out of 2-parent household, I don't be seeing everybody benefiting from that shit.
No, I'm thinking about it. Like, so you saying when they come from that, they strive for that almost.
It makes
to
it
like
work
be
harder.
married, so they don't duplicate the same burdens that got put on them or curses or whatever.
Right. Yes, that's why I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't think it's super. I could see how it could happen, but I think more so if you come up in that structure, you're more likely to duplicate that structure.
Hopefully it was healthy.
That's not what she said, though.
Huh?
You said if you come up in
Mary,
that.
let me say something to you now. If you want me to get on your ass, I will. I'm just saying.
But I'm saying
I didn't even say I said what she said back, and then I said I think that here's what's actually happening. So I acknowledged the point. I seen how it made sense, and then I said, but here's why I disagree. That's how debates happen.
You never said this is why I disagree.
What did I say?
Run that shit back.
Yeah. Relax, Playboy. Them
Them
braids is tight. I'm telling you. I literally told Q what she said made sense.
It made sense.
People duplicate what they see.
So
right? They come up in a certain structure.
I disagree. It doesn't sound like
I'm not done. That's why Asia said, I hope it's healthy. Because she heard my point, but she just wanted to qualify it. Why, if it's not healthy, then they may not duplicate it. Right? So that was almost her pushback to it of what I said. You see?
Okay. It's still bullshit though, Mary, because you think about even a lot of let's keep it real. A lot of our earlier Black families, right? They had grandma and grandpa, good ass people. He was a hard worker, never put his hands on grandma, wasn't a drinker, went to church, all that shit, right? Grandma was like, she was that woman, right? And then what the fuck end up coming out of that? Niggas is on drugs, marrying whole alcoholics. It's like, you didn't see that shit. Where the fuck did that come from? And fucked up a whole generation of kids. So seeing that positive example, I don't think it like I think the message that you're sending is that it almost guarantees a great chance. So like if you say you had 7 or 8 kids, probably one of your children had a really good marriage that modeled that marriage of grandma and grandpa back in those days.
And this is
or in some type of toxic relationship or something that it probably ended divorce, or you had an auntie or uncle and you saw a lot of bullshit within their marriage that did not exist when they were growing up.
And this is why I say that unconditional love doesn't exist. It's not a thing for humans. It's a myth. Because you're supposed to, in theory, you're supposed to love somebody through all that. You're supposed to love them through the affairs, through abuse, through violence. You're supposed to say, you know what? I see the future in this relationship.
Through violence? Are you saying
you can love them through that?
Unconditional love.
If you fucking make it to the next day.
Unconditional love. I'm not at all advocating that, but I'm saying that is unconditional love. Just
that
like
is unconditional love. You just don't have to stay in it.
Right. But that's just also like having a child that ends up being a rapist. If you are supposed to unconditional love your child, you love them through that, but most people wouldn't. But I am just saying is now, as opposed to our parents, we have the privilege of saying, and the means of saying we don't have to stay in these relationships. We don't have to do this. We can wait a little bit longer. Our parents, our previous generations did not have that same privilege. And so, I agree with you, Q, when you said, I think that, a lot of people watch some traumatic shit and their parents stayed through it, which who knows if that was beneficial or not. But what I am saying is, and I go back to saying this all the time, unmarried couples is going to be a crisis as it relates to wealth, right? There's no way for an unmarried woman to get anything from the man that produced that child. This is going to be an issue after in a few generations, and so that's why I think for our community, we have to start pushing marriage. We have to start getting married, even if it doesn't revolve around loving somebody every day.
Yeah, man, because we looking at remedy. So, yeah, wealth building, Mike. Does wealth building? I'm not saying it's synonymous. It's the only way, but marriage does it help that?
Mm-hmm. It's a legal way of combining wealth and making sure it passes down to the next generation. Marriage.
Yes, because when you're not married and you have children, in most states, the man has no rights to those children.
Oh yeah, especially having a
And,
child. Yeah,
and the
100%.
children have no rights to the man's wealth. And even if they go through the court system, they get pennies on the dollar versus if they were married.
Mm, that's big.
It doesn't matter who you're married to, as far as race.
What do you mean? When you have kids?
No,
Like,
she's saying marriage. Like, doesn't if it like is interracial the same? What would you say, the same value or something? Q type, like
right.
same yield, I guess.
Coming from like some of the philosophy of I guess you'd call it philosophy of Dr. Umar, right? So if you're passing that down to somebody who is not of the Black race, is that beneficial?
No.
Good point.
No.
So is it just enough to be married? Is my point.
No.
Good point.
I think it should be black on black.
Agree.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're giving your resources to some other culture, some other people.
Oh, the baby is black, right?
I don't prescribe.
Who's the dad?
Yeah.
If the dad is black, the baby black.
I don't prescribe
Yeah,
that at
but
all.
still, those resources though, you're giving them to a different community. You saying it's the same thing with all these guys who could throw the football far got white wives? That's crazy. Her family benefiting from that. It's not a black woman and her family.
And chances are that child's going to marry white.
That's true too. They're raised in that culture. I agree.
Any final thoughts on this? Mary, you got something?
Leave me alone.
Man, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. That's interesting, man. I'm going to chop this up and learn from it. I don't really like Jerry Springer, but I do like one of his constructs. Sis, final thought.
Just have a good night, everybody. I guess I'll see you next Tuesday.
Word. Mary.
We need to keep trying to build stronger Black families to help our Black little boys and girls.
Word. Ro.
The remedy to fix the Black community is to teach our children about the country that they live in and how to survive in it.
Word. Q.
I'm with a Black woman for real. My baby chocolate. Y'all be safe.
Word.
Sorry.
No, my bad. Go ahead.
They's like, ha ha. I know that's right. Big up. My final thought is Black people open a book, read, educate yourself, understand politics, understand legislation, understand your people, understand who you are, understand where you came from so you can know where you're going. Just educate yourself. Education is so pivotal, so that you can break the shackles of your mind off.
Word. Mike.
We have everything we need as a community to succeed. We got black colleges, black banks, chambers of commerce, businesses, apps, politicians, and it's really just we need to start supporting each other and being unapologetically black.
Word. Mr. White.
Let's continue to improve our communication with each other. Let's continue to show each other grace, because black men are worth it, black women are worth it, and together there's nothing we can't do.
Yeah, man. 100% agreed, man. I think all the sentiments tonight were valid because they a lot of people provided some substantive thought behind them, regardless if you agree or not. Right? I think entertainment is in disagreement, but at the end of the day, you still got to hear it. I think that's the key. Yeah. So I know Adrian touched on it, but I don't think the church is the answer. But if we can agree on a particular set of instructions, I think we would be much better off. I'll give you guys one gem. You could throw it out if you want to. If you go to Exodus 22, verse 16, sex is marriage. I wish I would have known that before I start busting all these chicks down. It's a lot of them too.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Imagine how much different life would be if we all knew that and conducted ourselves in that way. You feel me? Just a little something. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We out.